Contrary to popular belief, there is a huge difference between giving the fans what they want and manipulating them into clapping like seals at a Comic-Con panel. Hey y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. If there's one thing that has tremendous value to pretty much every human being on the planet, it's nostalgia. And Hollywood knows it. See, these days it looks like Hollywood might just be making legacy sequels left and right, but they're not just making sequels, they're essentially making emotional trapdoors. Arguably, I would say that fan service isn't the enemy, pandering is the enemy. Pandering is where a fan's good faith goes to die. See, fan service actually rewards a fan for their adoration, while pandering exploits them. So to be really specific, when I'm talking about fan service, I'm talking about callbacks, references, or just legacy moments that feel earned. They're always rooted in the character arcs, they're emotionally satisfying. And yeah, they might be there to make you clap and go, oh, remember that from the... But really, they're earned. They're not just tacked on, they're built into the story with a purpose. And fan service feels really good because it feels like a natural evolution. It honors the past without disrespecting the present. It pleases the old fans while also making the new ones happy. And a recent example of a great fan service film would be Top Gun Maverick.
Sorry, Goose, but it's time to buzz the tower. Goddamn son of a bitch.
It built on the original in a way that honored its legacy, and it also really brought in a lot of new fans who basically revitalized interest in the Top Gun franchise. And we can also give a nod to Spider-Man No Way Home, which yes, including the other two Spider-Men was definitely nostalgia bait, but they did a really great job of including both Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield.
Does it come out of anywhere else?
Only the wrists.
You never had a web block? Because I run out of webs all the time. I have to make my own in a lab. And it's a hassle.
There were emotional moments that made sense, like Andrew Garfield getting to save Tom Holland's MJ. Are you okay? That, my friends, is what fan service is. Pandering, on the other hand, looks a little different. Pandering is basically just key jangling and member berries in order to keep you clapping, distracted, consuming more content, and giving the studios more free publicity with all your joyful tweets on the internet. It's basically like surface level writing, sometimes identity swaps, and they're meant to grab attention without ever really earning it.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
They also seek to replace good writing with simple recognition. So instead of like, I love that because it was good, it was just, I love that because I remember this other thing.
Sir, those are actual ghosts flying around.
And a class 5 floating vapors, nothing to worry about.
No, it's important. Don't you see what's happening?
Look, I don't go to Chinatown, I don't drive wackos, and I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
And in that, it's kind of manipulative and gross. In a lot of ways, it usually disrespects the source material and tends to piss off old fans while confusing new viewers. There are a few big red flags when it comes to pandering, and lucky for you, I've got examples of all of them. If you're watching something and you find yourself going, oh my god, look, it's that guy from that thing, and then that guy from that thing actually does nothing, that's pandering. And a good example of that would be The Flash, which had a ton of cameos. Including really disturbing renderings of people that were already dead. And then those did absolutely nothing to add to the story. If you see a legacy character acting totally out of character, it's probably pandering, and I'm thinking of one of my favorite shows of all time, The Book of Boba Fett.
He's no good to me dead.
Like a panther. Yes? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
If what you're watching is an identity-swapped remake or reboot that seems to not understand what everybody loved about the original, it's probably pandering. Think Velma, which seemed to want to acknowledge Scooby-Doo but hated everything about it.
Hey, watch where you're going, jerk. Oh, Hey, Fred.
I have a disease where I can't recognize people who aren't hot. My doctor says it's basically sickle cell for rich guys.
Is it called rudeness?
It is. You're like smart.
If you're watching something and the fourth wall is broken, for the sake of both mocking the audience and also expecting applause, it's probably pandering, and I'm thinking of She-Hulk on Disney+.
This is not gonna work, right? We're not actually doing this. This can't possibly be where this season was going. All right, let's see here. No, yeah, no.
Now you might be thinking, all right, SnarkyJay, well if pandering is so bad, why do the studios keep doing it? Well, I mean, it works. Or historically, it worked. Until people catch on, anyway. Fan service gets buzz, like the months of hype that surrounded Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine. But pandering makes headlines. You'll get articles from Variety and Collider, and that piece of content or media will shoot right to the top of Twitter's trending. And these days, a lot of studios tend to value recognition over substance. They know that as a human race, we're all so eager to get back to what we think are the good old days. And nostalgia's a good way to trick us into thinking that something is representing the good old days. They don't want to have to reinvent the wheel, so why not alter the wheel slightly and call it new? The problem is the fans don't actually want that. Fans are getting increasingly more selective about what they'll pay attention to and what they'll pay money for. These days, our wants are becoming more and more simple, actually. If you're not a Hollywood bigwig, they're pretty simple. If you're in Hollywood for some reason, you're overcomplicating things. We only want a few things. We want respect for the characters that shaped us. We want emotional payoffs that feel earned. We want thoughtful references to everything we used to love, not box-checking cameos. And above all, we want a story that justifies those legacy moments. They say you can't go home again, and that's true. But if you're gonna remind us of home, you have to treat the story with care. Fan service reminds you why you fell in love with a story, but pandering tends to remind you of why you stopped loving it. Pandering just reinforces the belief that the good days are behind you and you didn't know you were in them. And that's the problem. We're starting to catch on more and more that fan service and pandering, one, are two completely different things, and two, that 9 times out of 10, they're calling it fan service, but really it's just pandering. And if Hollywood wants to get back to the days of making big money without having to be original, then they've got to learn the difference, and they have to stop pandering and learn instead to please us. We're vocal, we're complaining, and the internet is all over the place. It's really easy to learn the difference between successful fan service and pandering, if they'll only stop and listen. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below, and let me know an example of fan service that you really liked in the comments below.